Let me edit this. Woo! Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see. Hi! I know I'm a little late. I know I'm a little late. I was running around with Essie all day. Ooh. Had some things to get done, so we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Whew, okay, yeah, I know I'm a little late, but we're here today. We're here. We got it. We made it. Look at me, sticking to schedules. I'm so proud of me. Okay, we're gonna get it by BB. Oh, let me adjust. Possibly. Boop, boop. There we go. About 3 to 5 minutes, and then we're gonna. I don't know. She called me earlier. Oh right, y'all. I be forgetting so much that we have that like 360 app. I be forgetting about that like every day because I don't look at it. Like even when the notifications come through, I kind of just, you know, I don't really look at it. So I don't be knowing what's in there. I completely forgot that we called you earlier for your snackities. I'm super excited for DJ Kid Saturday. I'm very, very excited. Let's get into it. It's gonna be good. We're gonna have a good time. Things gonna happen. But yeah, I'm gonna give about like 3 minutes for people to flood on in. I got a couple of things written down. Oh my god. I probably should cover that. I'm gonna have to get some more of this soon. Wait for Silly Billy to come in and whatnot. Get this party started, get it jumping. Oh my god. You at work, Bean? Give it 5 minutes, give it 5 minutes, give it 5 minutes. I'm starting earlier than I usually do. So that might be another reason. Yeah, okay. 6:48, so you get off at 8:30 then? Give it until 5 minutes and then I'm gonna start. Yeah, okay. Yeah, today was an eventful day. We had a lot of running around to do. But I am excited. I'm excited for Saturday because it's gonna be good. I've been rewatching JJK actually, and I'm actually gonna once I get off of here, so I'm not gonna be on here too long because my phone's gonna die. I'm gonna go and watch that so I can be caught up and everything. Got of it, everything. I'm just waiting for my last little moderator to come on in. It's gonna be hitting the 5 minute mark. Yeah, that's why we're watching it right now because I'm trying to prep. Essence said that for the movie, they're gonna cover a little bit of the Shibuya incident and then it's gonna go and go. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm gonna give it 1 more minute for people to trickle on in. And we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Thank you, Kinley. I appreciate that. Waiting for my last moderator to pump on in, but he must have said something weird for you to block him, Yana I have only read like half of it, like the last half of his comment. So, whatever. Thank you. I look young. Maybe I am 15 in spirit. Hi, Monica. Okay. Okay. All right, 5 minute mark has been reached. Let's get into it. So, first thing I want to talk about today is preparing for your goals. Okay. Thank you, Monica. I appreciate that. Preparing for your goals. Okay. Because we all dream, right? Everybody can have a dream. Anyone can dream. Okay. Dreaming is cool. It's nice. Everybody can do that, though, right? Because the difference between a dream and a goal is that a dreams are just foundationless goals structured with pillars of false success without work. So basically, you think that you can achieve this great thing or have these things and be excited for all this stuff, but you're not looking at the groundwork that you got to put in before you do that, right? And so this was kind of brought on to me because like I was thinking about parenting, a lot of young parenting, and it's a lot of people who be like, oh, I've always wanted to be a dad, I've always wanted to have a family, I've always wanted to be a mom, I've always wanted to have a family, whatever. And like I will sit there and think like, okay, that's nice that you've always wanted to have a kid. That's your dream to have a family, right? But we still need to prepare for our dreams. And being a parent is one of them dreams that you need to prepare for early, right? And too often do I see people constantly kind of making it seem like you don't have to put in any work towards your goals when you do. I hate the whole false idea that, oh, in order for you to get to your goals, you don't have to do anything. They're just going to happen for you. You don't have to put in any work. People who think like, oh, I'll use a perfect example like Beyonce, right? People just think, oh, she's so effortless. She has it. She has it all. She doesn't have to do anything. She's Beyonce. No, she works hard. She puts in the work, the blood, sweat, the tears. She actually does the groundwork. She's done the groundwork. You're seeing the end result of said work because dreams are literally just foundationless goals. There's nothing there. It's just air. Like imagine trying to build a house with a roof and windows and all the extra stuff with no foundation. It's going to fall apart, right? And that is highlighted in parenting as well. That's why I hate when people try to make it seem like, oh, yeah, I should have a kid at 21 because I've always wanted to be a parent. Well, what can you teach that child about adulthood, really? Because you're learning how to be an adult while raising a child, right? If anything, that's a dream that you should prepare for more than anything. You should give yourself time to grow, to learn. You know what I'm saying? In some places, you can't even rent a car until you're 25. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some people are having kids before they're even allowed to legally drink, allowed to rent their first house. Like, how are you taking on these dreams and you're not preparing for them? That's with anything. Dreams, yeah, they're nice, but how are you going to formulate your dream into a goal? So basically, using the parents example, you could say, my dream was always to be a mom. My dream was always to be a dad. My dream was always to have a family. Okay, but is your goal to be a good mom? Is your goal to be a good dad? Is your goal to have a successful family? Because see, when we start getting into the nitty gritty of a goal, now you have to start preparing for that. You have to look inward and notice, oh, okay, maybe I'm not as ready as I think that I am. Maybe I'm not ready for certain conversations. Maybe I'm not ready for certain situations. Maybe I'm not ready to sacrifice as much as I think I do. And so, Robert, I think that you need to find you something safe to do, except for being in my comments because you're being weird. That's something that you need to be focusing on. And like it was something I highlighted when I was dealing with a whole bunch of Reddit stories of people just saying, oh, we're just going to figure it out. That's not something that you figure. So you figure out a dream. It's just whatever. Because a dream is like, oh, I want to be a pilot. Oh, I want to be a doctor. Oh, I want to be a veterinarian. You can think that all day. You can have that all day. You can dream about it all day. But see, when you have goals, now we're talking about putting in the work. It's not as fun as you think it's going to be. It's not as the grass is always green as you thought it was. Because now you actually have to do something to actually build towards what you're looking for. And so when it comes down to establishing our goals, you have to make a plan. Because once again, for those who are just joining us, a dream is just a foundationless goal. Okay? Structured on the pillars of fake success, false success with no work. You can say it all day that you want to be these things, but you're not working towards it. Something that I love to quote from Beyonce. She will always say, don't just speak about what you want to do. Don't just dream about what you want to do. Don't be telling people what you're about to do. Just do it. But see, the idea that you don't have to work to get there is kind of where people lose themselves. Like when you say, oh, I want to be an influencer. Oh, I want to be, I want to do these things. I want to be an artist. I want to be amazing. I want to do all these things, right? You look at other people and you think, oh, look at this person. They did it. There's no way I can't get there. But then you don't look into the groundwork. See, they set goals. They set a plan. Then they went, right? They realize that, okay, now that I have a structure, I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to create some stuff. I'm going to have to go. It's going to be hard. There's going to be times where you're going to doubt yourself. There's going to be times where you just be like, okay, this ain't right. It's not working. Sometimes you're going to have to pivot. Sometimes you're going to have to start over. Sometimes you're going to have to realize that you made a mistake and you're going to have to grow. That's the difference. There's a billion dreamers. I'm pretty sure there's millions of people who dreamed they can become a Beyonce. But you have to lay the groundwork or it's always just going to be a dream. And being able to set your goals, the best way to do that is to find out who you are, right? Figure out what you want to do. A lot of us are walking around purposeless. It's not that you're behind. It's not that you're not on time. It's not that you've wasted time. It's just you don't know what the fuck you want to do. And it's hard to know what you want to do when you don't know who you are, what you like. And so you need to set that as your first goal. What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? That is when you start laying the groundwork for them goals. That's when we go from dream to goal. And that's something that I had to learn in this past year. Because year after year, I was carrying around these dreams. Oh, I want to be an influencer. I want to entertain. I want to be successful. And I will. But it wasn't until last year when I sat down with myself and I was like, okay, well, you said you want to do all these things. Where's the groundwork? What we doing? How we're going to get there? Yeah, all these other people, they're accomplishing their dreams, but they had to set the standard first. They had to make the plan. Because that's how you turn a dream into a goal. And part of that was asking myself the right questions. Thank you, Kinley. If y'all, just a little quick reminder, if you're going to be fucking weird. Oh, look, my moderator already said it. If you're going to be weird, she's going to remove you. You're going to be blocked. It won't be up there long enough. And if y'all see anybody being weird, just ignore them. And so one question I had to ask myself was, okay, what do you want to be known for? And it doesn't mean that you have to be famous. Okay. If somebody was writing, a biography, if somebody was writing a story about you, say that you passed on and somebody was writing a story about you, what would you want that story to be about? What would you want somebody to talk about when they're talking about you? What you've done, what you accomplished, who you were. What would that look like? And that's when you start laying the groundwork. Once you start asking yourself those questions, okay, if somebody was talking about me, what would I want them to say? That's where we start. And that's what severely helped me. Because I start asking myself questions. Okay, so I want to entertain. I want to be able to talk to people. I want to have a community. I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to do that. So what do I want to be known for? What am I good at? Who am I? And sometimes you have to try a lot of shit in order to get to that point. And listen, I'm the poster child of trying. I'm never not going to try, honey. That's something about me. I'm going to keep on trying because if you don't try, you're already living in your worst case scenario. You're already at the bottom because you refuse to even try something. And that's why I leave up all my old videos on my channel, because if you look through all my years of being on YouTube, I've been on YouTube since like maybe 2017. If you look through all my videos, you will see that I've pivoted 1,001 times. I've pivoted so much, it's not even funny. I've pivoted too many times almost. But when you see kind of where I grew, I was going to kind of get closer and closer and closer and closer to where I wanted to be. You're able to see that I tried a whole bunch of shit. to get to where I am now. Now I'm solidified in myself. But all those previous years, I wasn't asking myself those proper questions. I wasn't trying to lay the groundwork. I would just say, I want to be a dreamer, so let me just try this. But I wasn't telling myself, okay, what do I want to be known for? Another question that you can ask yourself is, who do you want your community to be? And that doesn't necessarily mean, social media or entertainment spaces of any kind. It's just, you literally could just be thinking, okay, who do I want to be around me? What's the environment I want to be in? Who do I want to be speaking to? And I primarily highlight influencing or, just entertainment because that's where I want to be. That's the sector I want to be in. And a YouTuber, I'm missing her name right now, was talking about how who is your target audience when you're literally thinking about who you want supporting you, who you want talking about you, who you want being in your community. Who does that person look like? What do they look like? What do they sound like? What do they like? What is the community that you want to build? And that could be in any field. That doesn't even have to be just entertainment. Say, for instance, you want to be a doctor. Okay, if you want to be a doctor, what type of doctor? What type of community do you want around you? Do you want people who are compassionate? Do you want people who are honest? Do you want people who want to care for babies or people who care about the elderly? Do you want to deal with people who are mentally ill? Do you want to deal with this? Da, da, da? That is what you need to start asking yourself. Who is your community? And when you're talking about that community, what do you want them to be talking about when they're referring to you? What you've accomplished, what you're like, what you want, what you did. What do you want to be known for when people talk about you? And once you figure that part out, all the rest of it's going to flow. And sometimes you're just going to have to keep pivoting and keep trying. And that's why I love that I'm a perfect example of that, because I have a slew of things that I've tried before I got to where I am right now. But standing around and doing nothing is not going to get you anywhere. You have to be willing to put in the groundwork. And once you figure out that foundation there, then you can start the building blocks of, okay, I know I want to do this, or at least I'm interested in this, so I'm going to give it a try. And then I'm going to set up steps to get to me to where I think I want to be in that moment. Right? So if you want to become, I don't know, a public speaker, okay, you're going to start laying the groundwork on advancing your vocabulary, catching people's attention, constantly showing yourself different ways where you can capture an audience and get your point across. You're going to try to take on projects or new things that are going to allow you to speak in public. You're going to take on that leadership role. You're going to continue to grow in that. And that's the stepping stones. Okay, I'm going to get into a job that's going to require me to speak to large groups of people. I might go back to school to learn proper communications. I might start reading more so I can up my vocabulary. Are y'all understanding what I'm saying? Okay, Billy, you're going to be blocked soon. That was weird. But that is how you get to where you want to be. And I know it's really freaking hard, especially if you're Gen Z. I forgot when Gen Alpha starts. I think maybe 2010. But I would talk about Gen Z, even some millennial, right? We're kind of fucked right now. I forgot her name, the lady who played the wife in Blackish. She was talking about how a lot of us do not have the environments to be able to do that self-discovery. And I'm one of them people. A lot of us are one of the people where our parents didn't set us up for success. We didn't have stability. We didn't have the foundations for us to kind of just figure out what we want to do and play around with that. So unfortunately, we have to figure out who we are within the environment that we have to create. And oftentimes that means that, things are going to be pushed back or put down on the back burner or whatever, because you have to prioritize survival over self-discovery. And that was something that I was doing last year, until I had to say, okay, I got to take a break. I got to step back so I can figure out what it is I want to do, because I was not going to become a 25-year-old not knowing what I want to do in my life. And so getting to that point is very pivotal to being able to build your career, build your life, and knowing all this stuff. And that's even including, I talk to y'all all the time, for those who are new, they probably don't know, but I talk all the time about confidence and knowing yourself and loving yourself. Having that in a work, oh, that's That's going to help you get to who you want to be real fast. And as a matter of fact, you can make becoming a confident person a goal. Becoming known with oneself, self-aware, a goal. Take it from being a dream or a thought and make it into a goal. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to prioritize my happiness over anything else. If it doesn't make me happy, I'm not doing it. If this friendship is draining me, I'm not going to stay in it. If this relationship is bothering me and it's lack of communication and I feel like I can't ever grow, it has to go. If this job is not making me feel fulfilled, it's not feeling like it's working me towards what I want to do or who I want to be, well, it's time for a change. If the place where I live, my home environment, is not strong, or it just feels like it's shaky, or I feel like I can't think straight, or I feel like I can't advance in the way that I would want to, then it means you have to move. And the thing about goals versus dreams is, see, a dream, you can dote on it all day without having to think about how you're going to get there. You know, you can just be like, oh, I just enjoy the bliss. But see, a goal makes you confront the reality of obtaining what you want. A goal is going to bring you into the thought process of, fuck, I gotta move. Dang, I gotta quit this job. Whoa, I gotta cut off that family member. I gotta do stuff. I gotta go through things. Like, and I get it, because it's a stressful thing. It's anxiety ridden, but this is why I preach confidence so very much, because people ask me all the time, how did you get to this mindset? How did you get to this way? How did you think this way? It's like prioritizing my happiness over everything else made everything easier for me. It's not hard for me anymore, because I'm like, well, I want to be happy. My happiness is the most priority. At the tippity top. Nothing is going to change that. Nothing's going to move that. Nothing's going to shift that. I love myself too freaking much not to give me exactly what I want, exactly what I deserve. And so anything outside of that, it's not hard. It's not hard for me. It's not, well, let me say it's not hard. It's not impossible, right? It's not, I say it's like, I'll say it like this. It's gonna happen no matter what. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I always tell myself, like, my stress or anxiety or frustration threshold, like my threshold, if it gets to a point, once I'm at a certain point where I'm frustrated or overwhelmed or whatever, something's about to shift. It has to, because now my happy meter is not, it's not up there, and that's a problem. The ultimate goal, not dream, my ultimate goal is to make sure that I am maintaining as much joy and happiness as I can, ultimate peace as I can. And so whatever gets me there, I'm going to choose it. Thanks, Perk for Life. I appreciate that. I don't really know what those things are, but I appreciate it. I'm really happy. Thank you. And so you have to lay that groundwork. You have to confront the fact that, do you really want those dreams? Because you can have them. You can have a dream. Anybody can dream. But do you want to actually obtain them? Do you want them to be in your hands? Do you want to grasp them and amplify them? Do you want them to be something? Well, you're going to have to acknowledge the reality, which is you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to prep. And just because you have a dream doesn't mean that you have to have it right now. That was something that I had to learn. And I'm still learning, because as a neurodivergent, especially ADHD, baby, patience. Whew! Oh my gosh. I'm learning patience so bad this year. Patience is kicking my dairy air. Okay? It's kicking my dairy air. But I had to learn, just because you have a dream for something doesn't mean that you're ready for it right now. Seeing the difference between a dream and a goal is realizing that sometimes goals gotta wait. Goals come with testing. Goals come with patience. Goals come with blood, sweat, and tears. Like really, just because you want it doesn't mean that you're ready for it. Something that I heard a creator say on TikTok, they was just like, and I don't know what y'all spiritual stuff is, but they was just like, if you were ready for it, don't you think God would have given it to you? God, the universe, whatever. Don't you think that you already have it? If you were ready for it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we're not. Sometimes you think you are, but you're not. And a game I love to play with myself is like when I don't have something when I want it, I always sit back and think about, what's coming up or what's happened or what's happening right now that will be preventing me from properly executing this thing. And I always find it. When I say I always find it, I always find it. And y'all, I'm not ignoring y'all. I just want to make sure that I don't miss my train of thought because ADHD brain. Mm-hmm. Kaylin, I don't know who that is. I don't know what you're talking about. Exactly. Exactly, Perfect Life. That's what you gotta do. Kaylin, I'm not really sure what you're talking about, but you're strange. Okay. Kaylin, you're being very strange, so you may as well just disappear. Um, you're not saying anything that's worth responding to. Like all of this is nonsense. Kaylin, you're not responding to anything that's actually in alignment with what we're discussing. So, not really sure what response you would like, but that's all I got. Anyways, you have to realize that you're not always prepared for what the things that you want. There's been plenty of shit that I thought that I wanted. That I wanted. I was back and I was just like, you want that? You didn't want that. Or you wasn't ready for that. You wasn't prepared for that. And when I look through my life of having the time to just basically just, I don't know, just lay the foundation or just take on different opportunities, I sit back and look back at my life and be like, oh, wow. Something else that another creator has said a while ago, he was like, oh, there's nothing that was kind of confusing now that didn't make sense later. And that stuck with me because I was like, oh my gosh, that's true. You're right. You're right. It might not be right now. You might be looking like, what the hell? What's going on? But then later you gain that clarity, you're just like, whoa. Looking back through my life, I'm just like, I'm glad I didn't get this thing before. I'm glad I didn't have everything that I was looking for. I'm glad that I had to wait because I got to take on this opportunity. I got to meet this person. I got to grow here. Things that I looked through in my past where I love to observe myself. Look through my past, I'd be like, wow, I was really immature at this point. I was really ill prepared at this point. I didn't have any of this back at that point. And I'm glad that I wasn't thrown into the fire or thrown into what I thought that I wanted at the time because I wouldn't have been prepared. I would have been lost. And then my, I guess you can say goals, because they weren't really goals, my dreams would have blown up in my face. All I was thinking was a dream. Oh, I want this thing. But okay, when we're getting down to the nitty gritty of actually talking about this thing that you claim that you want, we're talking about laying the groundwork. Where's the steps? And then when you look at the steps, you're just like, oh, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for this. I need this. Maybe I'm not ready. Oh my gosh. Thanks, Max, for the gifts, guys. I appreciate it. I don't know what they do, but I appreciate the gifts. Like, I sit back and think, wow, I wasn't prepared for that stuff. And that's when I start to realize, okay, it's time to start setting goals. Because once again, goals come with reality checks. It's not in the blissful candy lane, whatever. You're not just able to stay in bliss. You got to realize you're going to have to do some stuff. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to go through some things. And that's okay. That's okay. If you got to cry about it, cry through. But get it done. And that's what I do. Like a lot of people will say to me, oh my gosh, you get so much stuff done and all stuff. And a lot of people actually have had to argue with like psychiatrists and stuff because they'll be like, oh, I can't believe that you have ADHD. You get so much done. And I'm just like, yeah. And I was like, well, you can sit in the room and you can pay attention. You can complete an assignment. You can do that. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, how can you do that? Are you sure that you have ADHD? Because, I mean, every ADHD I've met can't do that. And I'm just like, well, my goal is to get an A. My goal is to be successful. My goal is to be educated. My goal is to achieve. Okay, so if I know that, I lay out the groundwork. Here's the steps that I have to take to meet my goal. I could dream about that A all day. I could dream about that honor roll all day. I could dream about that scholarship all day. But my goal is to get it, not just think about it, not just have it on my heart and just be, oh, I can't wait. I'm not somebody to sit around and wait for something to be handed to me. I'm not that person to just sit around and wait for somebody to do something for me. I have the skill set now. I have the brain now. I have the energy now. So what I do, especially as an ADHDer, I set it up where I give myself no room to refuse. Because when it comes down to the fact that I've already set a goal, if I refuse it, now I have to confront myself. Now I have to hold myself accountable. Because, okay, you said that you wanted this thing. Here's the steps. You haven't taken a single one. What's with that? You don't want it for real. You don't want it for real. You don't want to achieve for real. You don't want to be successful for real. You don't want to be educated for real. You don't want an audience for real. And you can take that and apply that to yourself. You don't want that job for real. You don't want healthy friendships for real. You don't want a healthy relationship for real. You don't want that car for real. You don't want to be educated for real. You don't want that for real. Because if you did, you'll be taking the necessary steps to go get it. And if you met people in your life who say that they want this, this, and that, but they never take the steps, you can always sit back and look at them and be like, well, I can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself. You have to want it. And that's why I tell people, anytime somebody says they want to do something and they haven't done it, they don't want it. And people will say all the time, oh, no, sometimes life gets in the way. It doesn't fucking matter what gets in the way. If you want it, you're going to have it. You just got to want it bad enough, and you don't. You're not tired of your current circumstance right now. You're not tired enough. But one day you will. At the end of the day, you're going to end up somewhere. Rather if you make choices for yourself or you let the universe move you. But you will end up somewhere. But you have the power now to decide, okay, I should have a little bit of control of where the hell I want to end up, where I want to be. Kidney. And Kinley, yes and no. We are not in competition with one another. That's something that I had to learn. Comparison is the thief of joy, right? I know that we look at our friends and we think, Big Felipe, y'all are such losers. That is so funny. Y'all think that being racist towards me is going to amplify you. It hasn't made you prettier. It hasn't made you funnier. It hasn't made you smarter. It hasn't made you richer. It hasn't made you any more educated. And you're in my life, so it hasn't even made you more popular than me. So I'm not really sure what racism is doing for you, but okay. But like, comparison is a thief of joy, right? So when we compare ourselves to other people, we think that we're behind, but we're not. You need to be on your own journey. Nobody's in competition with anybody unless you've entered a competition. You know what I'm saying? Unless you've placed yourself in a competition, you're not in competition with anyone. And you need to understand something too. A lot of the times, those competitions are one-sided. You're the only one thinking that there's going to be a winner when the other person is not even trying. They're just living their life. Everybody's path is different. Yeah, you could say, well, I'm 24 now. I'm 24. There's 24-year-olds who are millionaires. Well, those 24-year-olds didn't start where you just started. Those 24-year-olds went through their own shit. They had their own path. You don't want the life that they have. They're going to have to learn lessons that you're never going to have to learn. They're going to have to go through things that you're never going to have to go through. You know what I'm saying? Their stuff is completely different. From the outside looking in, yeah, it looks great. But you don't know what their life is like. We oftentimes compare the rich to the poor. And I get it, you know, as somebody who grew up poor, I understand, right? But something I love to kind of acknowledge when we're talking about this type of thing is like I love to acknowledge the fact that we truly don't escape life. Nobody has a perfect life. No matter how it looks, nobody has a perfect life. And one of the things that I've noticed is that with poor people, we tend to have more of community, real relationships, understanding. And this is something that my mom helped me recognize about maybe 2 years ago, and actually maybe like a year ago, where we were talking with a coworker of mine, and she was, well, not even a coworker of mine, we were talking about a coworker of mine, and she was basically just saying how like this person kind of grew with well-off parents and da 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 da, right? And she was kind of saying how people who are wealthy usually lack humanity, and I don't mean necessarily like they're terrible people and they think that people should burn or anything like that, but more so they didn't really have that close of a relationship with their parents. They don't really know what it's like to make real friends. They don't acknowledge real world problems. Like, and this is somebody who's also witnessed this firsthand, like seeing them kind of, I guess you can say, walk around in this world where it's like, yeah, they have money, but they don't know what love really feels like. They don't know where connection really feels like. I was watching a show, I think it was called Succession or something like that, and it was like these uber rich kids and their dad, and their relationship was so terrible. They had all the money in the world, but just to even speak to their father, they had to consult a lawyer. They had friends where if their business was failing, this friend would literally be waiting in the shadows to scrape up the pieces, take them for everything that they have. And I realized there's a lot of people like that in the world who can't trust anybody because they think they're going to be used or they're there for them for something. They don't have real relationships. They don't know what that feels like. I had to experience that firsthand, like that, like I was talking about with this coworker, where he had well-off parents who were completely not emotionally involved at all, to the point where certain emotions and feelings, when he would see it with me, he was kind of like weirded out and conflicted because he didn't get it. But I'm just like, well, in my household, communication was a huge deal. Taking accountability was a huge deal. Apologizing was a huge deal. Acknowledging how you feel and how things affect you was a huge thing. My mother might not have been able to give us everything in the world financially, but my mother was a damn good emotional mother. Okay? She was involved when it came down to how we express ourselves and how we communicate and how we value each other and how we speak to one another and how our relationships go, to the point where I can trust my family, certain people in my family, with my life. I don't have to question that if my friends are my actual friends. But for a lot of people, it's like that. You might think, oh, they grew up with the nice cars and nice houses and stuff like that, but they barely speak to their parents. I've met multiple kids. I remember I met a kid who had a parent who had, like, they were wealthy, divorced, but the mom had a lake house or whatever. You could tell that he had no real connection, to the point where he was friends with people that he wasn't even really his friends. They were just friends by proximity. Like, we grew up together. My parents knew your parents. We went to a similar school, but we're not actually friends. We don't actually talk about anything. We don't even actually have anything deeply connected. Hi, silly Billy. We don't have anything. And so, knowing me, I sit back and I think, and I'm like, wow, I couldn't imagine not having that, being conflicted like that, looking around you. Could you imagine that? You're talking to your dad, you're talking to your mom, you're talking to your siblings, and you can't trust them? You feel like they're going to manipulate you or hurt you at any turn. But hey, at least you got a new Rolls Royce. You have the right contracts for relationships because you don't feel like you can trust anybody. Can you imagine that? You can't trust anyone. You don't even know if you can tell anybody, oh, my business is failing. I'm struggling mentally. I feel like I don't belong. I feel empty inside, and nobody relates to you. You can't trust anybody with that information, or they brush you off. But hey, at least you have the private jet to go to Cabo. It's okay. Just go to Cabo and drink a $15 margarita and Have a good time. It'll all go away. So what if you feel like nobody loves you? So what if you feel like you can't trust anyone? So what if you feel like all your relationships are fake? So what? As somebody who grew up learning about emotions and communication, I could never imagine that. I could never imagine that. Not having anybody to turn to, nobody to talk to, being in a room full of people and you can't trust anyone. Being in a room full of people and you don't feel love from anyone, you have no connection, you don't feel like you belong. Because your parents are like, well, I gave you all the toys you wanted, I gave you all the clothes that you wanted. Y'all went to the nicest schools, so y'all went on vacation, all that stuff. Yeah, but I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling a little lost. I don't have any connection. I don't know how to communicate. What does love look like? And that is the truth for a lot of people who are well off. Way more than you would think. At different levels, too. I've spoken to people who are part of, like, I don't want to say the uber rich, but wealthy as hell, to the point where they can drop $250,000 and not blink, to people who grew up with maybe like upper middle class to like even just middle class ish, right? That lack, it's not there because it's filled with material things. It's filled with monetization. And being the observer that I am, I had to teach myself, stop comparing yourself to people because you really don't know what's going on. You really don't. You think that it looks great, but you don't know what their life is like. On top of that, you don't know what they had to learn or are still learning that you haven't or that you won't need. Their path is not your path. Where they are does not mean that you're behind. You're on your own path to getting there in your own way. And when I look through my life, I'm just like, oh yeah, I got to learn this. I got to grow from that. I got to have time to escape this. Yeah. I got the opportunity to work in this industry, in that industry, in this industry. So I've got to learn and be prepared. One of the things that I'm grateful for is that I got to grow up without everybody's eyes on me, without the whole world basically knowing who I am and watching my every move and trying to tell me what I coulda, shoulda, woulda. But there's a lot of people out there who are my age who had to grow up like that. So they don't know what it's like to have privacy. They don't know what it's like to be able to grow and kind of just make mistakes like any regular person. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have those times to be ignorant because they were under a magnifying glass. So I need to, if I'm feeling that way, I need to first set a goal to prioritize myself and what I want out of my life. Not prioritizing what other people got and I need to do what they're doing. So that is something that you can set for yourself. That's how you go from having a dream to having a goal. Setting the steps, setting the plan, realizing that you have to do the work. That should be the first thing that you're doing. Instead of being like, oh, this person's 23 and they've been to college and they have all this stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Think about it like this. Okay, you want to go to college? When? Who do you want to be in the next 5 years? What do you want to look like? What does that look like? What does that feel like? Who are you? When you visualize this thing, who is this person? And me having a very heavy imagination, I can visualize myself. In the next 5 years, and I'm saying it now amongst my cute little group, next 5 years, I can see myself in a condo, living downtown or in a different state, different country, downtown. I have 1, 2, 3 businesses already established, and my YouTube is doing very well. To the point where I can come on here, come on live, come on my videos, and I have so many chats I got to catch up with. I got so many things I got to reply to, so many people I got to talk to. That's established. I have my community that is built, that is made. Then businesses outside of social media are established, they are created, and I'm working on them and they are made. Next 5 years, I'll be 29. I should be in my first or second year of college, gaining my business degree. These are goals, and I've already set the steps. Thanks, Lily. I appreciate it. I like my little bananas. I've been wearing bananas since I was in high school. Love them. But those are the goals. And if you are not there yet, then you need to go back and do the work. And something I was learning as well is that you got to set tiny stuff, small wins. And that used to be something that used to make me mad because I used to be like, small wins, who wants to think small? I want to have it all. I want to be big. That was my impatience talking. I'm learning. I'm learning. But used to think like, oh my God, I don't want to think small. Small doesn't get you anywhere. But small is a start. See, I was kind of trying to be like from a newborn baby, get up and run like Usain Bolt. I want to go from not walking at all, not crawling at all, to running. But crawling is still progress, right? Walking is still progress. Running is progress. It's progress somewhere. You're doing something. Even if you cannot show up to your full extent the way that you truly want to right away, you can still do something. So even with the beginning of this year, I use myself as a perfect example. I knew that I wanted to do the ADHD niche, but I wasn't fully inept on like what I really wanted to do. I wasn't really sure like, am I really want to do this dream or da da da? I don't know. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go out there and do what I can. I'm gonna set a little steps. If I gotta do one video this month, that's fine. And I started that. And the transition from the beginning of the year till now, y'all. Look at me! I took little baby steps. I did little crumb to your dum. And for the first time in my freaking life, in all the years I've been on YouTube, I hit 2,000 subscribers. Boom! Like, I've been on this thing since 2017, having a dream. It wasn't until last year that I set a goal. And I've been working towards that goal. Tiny, itty bitty pieces, but slowly but surely, things are starting to manifest and grow and go. It might be small, but I started small. And eventually, it's gonna be going in a way where I'm gonna be like, ah! What's going on? Slow down! You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna get there, but I started off with posting like maybe one long form video a month, and then I had posted like maybe a few shorts here and there throughout the month, and then I got, bombarded y'all with a whole bunch of videos in June, and then I had like some consistency over the summer and the winter, whatever, and now I'm back kind of like getting my feet wet again. But I've pivoted, and now when I don't post videos, I make sure I go live or whatever. This little small stuff, I never used to go live, ever. But as I took my little crawls, my little itty bitty steps, here I am, now doing live. Now I have almost all my series that I have planned established. Almost all of them. There's only like one, maybe two in the future, that I have to establish, but that's for when things get back on track in my life. But I literally just baby steps, and it got me somewhere I've never been. I've never been this far on YouTube ever. I've been viral a couple of times on YouTube, like not viral, but like I had like videos that reached over 5,000 views, 1,000 views, whatever, especially last year. Like I had some pretty good numbers over the years, but they never really, I guess you could say, manifested into anything that I really wanted. It wasn't until I created a goal, created the little steps, and took those little baby steps, and now I'm here. Now I go live all the time, and I see y'all, and I talk to y'all, and I have a better established audience. I'm growing with each video. But in the beginning of this year, I was losing subscribers left and right, and now I'm like, now it's a steady uptick. From just those tiny little itty bitty little steps every single day, I have something new. I'm growing in a different way. I'm growing in a different area. You got to apply that same thing to your life and wherever you are and whatever you want to do. Don't know what you want to do with your life yet? Okay, so then your goal is what? Find out who I am. Find out what I want. What am I interested in? What do I like? What makes me happy? What can I do for hours that I wouldn't be bored? What would I do for free? It's another good question to ask yourself. If you don't know the questions to ask, okay, now this is my goal. My goal is to find myself. Find myself in what I want to do. So, step 1, find the right questions to ask so I can receive the right answers. Boom. That's a small step. It's small, but it can make a huge difference later on. Okay, first step to the goal of discovering myself. It's just find the right questions to ask so I can find the right answers. Once I receive the right answers, now I know myself. So what I asked myself last year when I went to focus on my YouTube, I knew my goal was to establish myself on YouTube this year. That was my number one. Establish myself on YouTube this year in a niche that I want, that I love. They're so strange, Silly Billy. That's why I just ignore them. That was my goal. What was my stepping stones for that? Okay, what do I want to be known for? Who do I want to be? What do I want my community to look like? What do I want my content to look like? What do I want it to feel like? I already asked myself the first question of, oh, okay, what would I do for free? This. I've been posting videos for years for free, and I will continue to do it because I love it. It makes me who I am. It makes me feel fulfilled. I don't feel like I'm working when I'm doing this. I don't feel like I'm you know what I'm saying? When I do this, I don't feel like I'm, you know what I'm saying, exhausted or anything like that. Y'all literally breathe life into me. So I know what I would do for free because I'm already doing it now. So now, what do I want that to look like? Okay, boom. Hold on. Thank you, Zilla. You are so funny. I'm always trying to say some real shit, y'all. Sometimes I be babbling, but today I'm trying to really give a message, give a sermon. Okay. And after I answered those questions, it was like, okay, so what do I want that to look like? Okay, well, can I do this and this? And then boom, the series. Now I have a boatload of series. Another question I had to ask myself, okay, how are you going to do this? How are you going to stay consistent with this? That was my biggest problem, is consistency. And it wasn't because I didn't want to post, it was because I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But now that I do know, I'm just like, okay, you know what you want to post, you know who you are, you know what you're looking for. Okay, what is that going to look like when it comes down to keeping it up? And I came on to talking about posts, telling y'all when I'm going to come on. Right now with the live stuff, I told myself I had a dream that I wanted to be on live more, talk to y'all more, because I'm getting more of a society just talking here, sitting here and talking with y'all. I wanted to do that. So, okay, from a dream to a goal, what's the first step? First step is to figure out how I'm going to do this consistently. How I'm going to come on live and actually say a schedule. Okay, what do you don't do? I don't break promises. Okay. So if you said that you're going to be on live on this date, you're going to have to hold yourself accountable. But if you only tell yourself that, you're probably going to just be like, I can do it another day. They don't know. But if you tell your audience that, now that is something that you can't go back on. Because you told them this is what you're going to do. Now, unless it's completely out of your hands and you just can't do anything about it, you're going to show up. And what does that look like? Setting a schedule with y'all like I did the week before last. How was our Thanksgiving? Oh my God, I can't believe I almost forgot. How was our Thanksgiving? I hope that it was good. I hope y'all had good food. I hope y'all had good fun. I hope y'all enjoyed yourselves, because I surely did. And so that's how I turned my dream of being on live more consistently to a goal. And now I'm working towards that goal. First day in, baby. First schedule. Boom. Remember, we're going to do it at the top of the month. Set expectations for myself, things that I can actually achieve, things that I can actually do. That's not too overwhelming. My little baby steps, my little crawling. I did it almost completely by myself. All gluten free. It was fire. Period. I made all stuff by myself too. All my stuff for myself too. I'm glad y'all enjoyed yourselves. For those who did. But that's what you got to do. Set those stepping stones. Okay. Next time we see each other by this time next year, we should be establishing something. And if you don't know, at least try something. Fuck! So much can come from just trying. You can figure out that you want to do something completely different from trying something that you think you're interested in. Just try it. Just try it. Because what's the worst that's going to happen? It's not going to work out. Well, at least you tried. You're already living in your worst case scenario right now because you're not doing anything. Yeah, I think it was good. I don't think I took a picture, but I had made collard greens, dressing, yams, macaroni and cheese, and smothered chicken with a peach cobbler. Made it all by myself for me. And it was good. At first, I wasn't gonna cook anything, but I was just like, "What am I doing?" Of course, you're gonna cook. What? Thanksgiving is your favorite holiday. I had such a good time. And so, y'all, I was by myself, but next year I'll be with family. But this year I was by myself. But I want y'all to basically get to that point in your lives because we all need to know what we want to do. So we can look back and be like, you know what? Yeah. Hell yeah. Because you're living your worst case scenario right now by not doing anything. And I know it can be hard, it can be scary because a lot of us don't have the environment where we could just sit around and just try and discover. But you gotta do something at some point because you're gonna end up somewhere. And wouldn't you much rather end up somewhere where you feel fulfilled, where you feel happy, where you feel like you actually did something that you actually achieved? Is it Naglas? I don't know how to pronounce that. I think it's Naglas, right? Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't really know what the stickers do, but I'm so appreciative. Thank you. Um, don't say. Sorry, I don't know how to say it. I'm trying to get your names right. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it fully, but um, it's just I want everybody to be able to achieve because this was such an eye opening thing for me. Like discovering who I was, discovering what I wanted. It's a type of clarity, a type of feeling that you really just can't explain. It is you can't duplicate it, you can't buy it. Finding out who you are and then being able to set the steps to find out what you want to do. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, I wasn't sure. I'm like, I don't know how the stickers work. Honestly, I don't know at all how they work, but I'm very, very, very appreciative. Thank you for anybody who do anything. You guys don't have to do anything, but I appreciate it. Um, but yeah, it's such a I don't know, like a relieving feeling. And like I was saying earlier with Gen Z, we really don't get the space to do it because the economy is messed up. Everything is overpriced. Wages, everything's going up, but wages. Like we really don't have the space and the time. There are so many people who are still living at home with their parents or in bad environments because they can't take off on their own. So they really can't grow. But taking these small little steps to be like, okay, I want to this year no longer just stumble through my life, stumble through what I kind of want to do. I want to prepare for my goals. I want to end up somewhere and I want to have a choice in where I end up somehow. You can't control everything, but you can control some things. And so being able to make the necessary steps, be able to take those steps and really blossom into something, man, you might not be able to have control over everything in your life, but as long as you have those goals, you have something to look forward to. Like hope is nice, but you know, hope without work is you know what I'm saying? Faith without works is dead. You know what I'm saying? Faith in yourself, faith that your life is going to work out, faith that things are meant to be for you, that you're deserving. Like, without you putting in that work, you'll never fully grasp it. You'll never fully obtain it. You'll never fully believe it, really. And I want that for y'all because I want that desperately for me. And that's how you go and discover your path. And to be honest with you, if you especially if you want to be in social media and stuff like that, anything can be monetized. Anything. When I say anything, anything. You just gotta find it, find your passion, and figure out a way how to monetize it. It's not hard. Once you figure out what you want to do, people will follow. There are people who do cup stacking competitions, and people win trophies for that. Never would I thought that a cup stacking was gonna be a competition. Cup stacking competition was gonna bring in people with actual fan bases and audiences and money. Wow. I don't know if it's Jana or Jana, but we are discussing being prepared for your goals, turning your dreams into goals by actually backing them with steps, acknowledging that they take work, and facing the reality of those steps and that work to achieve the things that you want, to do the things that you want to do, to be who you want to be. Because a lot of us don't have the room to have that self discovery, but at the exact same time, we still got to get it through. We still got to do stuff. You're going to have to work through it. You're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to want it. Like I say all the time, you got to want it. If you don't want it, well, you're just going to keep on floating through your life and the universe is going to end you somewhere. You're going to end up somewhere. No matter if you don't do anything or if you do. But personally, I would like to have some say and some control over where I end up, over who I am and what I want to do. I want to know that I can look back through my life, look through the pages of my life and be like, okay, I really prepared for that thing. I really, you know what I'm saying? I really waited for that. I really made sure that I was, doing something towards that. I didn't just sit back and just hope that things work out, wasting year after year after year after year after year waiting for something that's not going to happen. I have no idea how much a gym gift is. I don't even know how these gift things work. I believe in free will. Well, yeah, everybody should believe in free will. If you don't believe in free will, then you believe in slavery. That's interesting. But yeah, I want that for y'all because it's so important, and it's just like when you have that goal, you don't even need hope for real. You don't even need hope for real. If you ask me, if you have your goal set in mind, you just need the steps to obtain that goal. And if something happens that kind of knocks you off your path, you need to pivot, reestablish your steps. Maybe you got to add a new one. Maybe you got to subtract one. But the goal should remain the same, and you should be working towards that goal at all times. If your goal is to be a good mother, okay, what does that look like? What do you think that that's lacking? If your goal is to be valedictorian, okay, look into those steps to see, okay, I gotta get good grades, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. If your goal is to have a better relationship with your friends, okay, what does that look like? Where do you feel like that's lacking? If your goal is to start a business, okay, what don't you know? What do you need to build? What do you need to grow? What do you need to study on? If your goal is to have a degree by the time you're 35, okay, you need to just sit back and decide, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want that goal to look like? What do I want that degree to look like? What school do I want to go to? What kind of environment do I want to be in? What kind of schooling do I want to do? Do I want to do online? Do I want to do partial? Do I want to live on campus? What does it look like? And once you lay it out on the table, especially for us visual learners, or really my ADHDers, when you lay it out on the table and you put it in our face, when you see it, you're just like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? You feel like Crunk from Cusco's Groove. That was a villager left by Cusco. We find the villager. We find Cusco. Oh yeah. What do you say about folks who say God loves you, will be fine, promoting laziness? Faith without works is dead. It's as simple as that. I believe that if God gave you a brain, then, well, a brain that has a conscience, then you're able to use that brain to think. If you are well versed in your consciousness and you are there, you're present, you can think. Andre. Sorry, I had to do something really quick. Faith without works is dead. If God gave you a brain to think, you should use it. If God gave you limbs to move, you should use them. That's why I don't believe in like handouts. I don't sit around waiting for God to bless me. I use what God has already given me to work towards that. Honestly, is it Jenna or Jana? I think it's Jenna, but I don't really know. I don't want to mess it up. I think that, to me, I believe that God exists, to be honest. But I think that God shows themselves in different ways to each person. Each relationship is hyper individualistic, meaning that your relationship with God is not going to look like my relationship with God. But you need to find that on your own. You need to discover that on your own. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, I'm 24, but I've been pretty grown up for a long time. I was treated as the oldest daughter, so I had to grow up pretty fast. But these are just things that I've learned over life, because I'm a very self-aware person and I try my best to learn and grow with every passing day, especially with every passing year. I don't want to be the same woman that I was last year. Like, I low-key want to be unrecognizable. Like, I want to make a transition every time for the better, more educated, better experiences, better choices, sound mind. Oh, okay. Oh, it's the K's in there too. My bad. I'm so sorry. Okay. But yeah, like I think when it comes down to God, like everybody has their own thing. I think that everybody's trying to get to the same place of having some type of spiritual connection, spiritual bind, like something to make them feel spiritually connected. Because I do feel like we all have a spirit or a soul, whichever people like to say. Um, and I think that it is bounded to something because, this, our bodies, our flesh, if you will, I think it is just a host, like a thing for our spirits to sit in. And that's the reason why when we pass, our spirits leave this body behind, because that's the reason why we grieve when we're at a funeral. That person, they're right there. So you should not be sad because they're there, but they're also not. They're not there anymore. The person who that you were, that spirit you were connected to, is not there. And I do believe that there is a being that creates us, who we are, our spirits, not necessarily our vessel, what I like to call it. Our vessel is a completely different thing. How our vessel comes out is just how it comes out. But who we are as a people, that's different. And so I believe that God is real because God has given me discernment. God has helped me through so many things. And yeah, if you don't believe in God, that's your own thing. But I'm the type of person where I'd much rather believe it and find out that it's not real rather than not believe it and find out that it is. So yeah, I live in Wisconsin. Where do you live? But you need to put in the groundwork. And honestly, one thing that's pretty difficult, but was kind of difficult for me, but I had to recognize it too. You got to cut off people who are not willing. You got to cut off people who want to sit behind and not grow, not change, not shift, not pivot, because they will drag you down. I'm sorry, I don't want to be where I am right now 5 years from now. 5 years from now, I want to be amazing. I want to have everything that is a goal of mine. I want to be prepared for it. And if it's not there then I'm going to continue to wait until I'm prepared to take it on, and then I'll have it at another point. But I want to continue to grow and be better and continue to stay consistent in my betterments, if you will, with each passing year. And so if people don't want that, if people don't want to grow with that, well, that's them. And I would tell people, I'm not going to listen to you complain about the same thing over and over again with no solutions. I'm not going to sit here and listen to you say that you have dreams, but you don't want to transfer those dreams into goals. You don't want to take any steps. Even when the tools are there for you, the support is there for you, you're not making any moves towards that advancement. You don't want better for yourself. So I'm not going to want better for you. You have to want it. I can't want it for you. Because even if I did want it for you, I can't make you do it. I can't make you achieve. I can't make you want. I can present you with the steps. I can present you with the material. I can present you with the support. But you have to want it. I'm not about to think for you. And if you want to be lazy, well, you will see me less, if at all. That life ain't after before this physical life. Don't be alone with that shit. Quit bragging people. Is there life after? I believe that there's a heaven and a hell. I truly do. I truly do. Truly. I believe that there is a place where your spirit goes at some point. For my own sanity, I have to believe that. This can't be it. This can't be it. And even if there isn't, I feel like we're all going to end up somewhere, right? But even if there isn't like a heaven and a hell, even being in eternal rest for wherever long works just fine too. Rather there being heaven or hell, or if your spirit just sits in eternal sleep, that works for me too. Me too, because injustice exists in this life. Yeah, injustice is always going to exist in this life, though. There's always, I believe in equilibrium. I believe in balance. I'm such a Libra. I believe in balance. And when it comes down to thinking about the good versus the bad, there's evil people just like there's good people. You know what I'm saying? There's life just like there's death. There's fire just like there's water, you know? And kind of how I visualize God right in my brain. Like God is not a person. They're not a species. They're just a being, right? And I feel like they view life differently. I feel like they view death differently. I feel like they view time differently. They view everything differently than we do. I don't think that God is a person at all, as a matter of fact. I think that God is an it, if anything, right? Because they make up so much. They make up everything and nothing at the same time, right? Like how they can relate to you, they can relate to a star, like they can relate to an ant, like they can relate to a flower, like they can relate to a cloud. You know what I'm saying? They're in everything and they touch everyone. And we are all so different, and they did it on purpose. If they wanted us to be the same, then they would have all made us the same, but none of us are the same. Not a single one. And that's why I always tell people too, nobody knows the real answers. Nobody has the truth about God. Nobody what they try to tell you. You don't have a truth besides personal testimony. That's all you got. Everybody has personal testimony, what that spiritual connection has done for you, or maybe for somebody that you know. But even then, that's a personal experience. That's your personal testimony that is not applying to everyone. And I don't believe that this being shows themselves in the same way to everybody. So we all interpret them differently. So I don't think that any of us are all the way wrong or all the way right. We just go according to what that personal relationship looks like and go from there. Nature loves a gorilla, but enacted the idea of God. And gods are fake, but God is like things real. Thanks, I appreciate it. I've been told that a couple of times, but like none of us have the answers. So it's just like do your spiritual connection how it works for you. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not trying to push your beliefs onto other people, I don't really care. Everybody has their own spiritual journey. Everybody has their own path, their own way to getting there. And whatever that looks like for you, it's not how it's going to look like for me. Like, for instance, my mom, I grew up in a Christian household. I'm not Christian. I don't adhere to any religion. I'm a spiritually bounded person. But my mom, she can pray and read that Bible for 3 to 6 hours. I've seen her. Wild. My whole childhood, I could never do that. I never, ever, ever could do that. And that was one of the reasons why I kind of stepped away from religion too, because I was like, I don't want to abide by those rules. I have to have something else, because this can't be right. And one thing that I did was music. Music was my shit. I love music. Look at you talking about God and cussing. Music was everything to me. And literally, that's how God spoke to me and reached me through music. And one of those people that have told her how white she is, listening to you is so encouraging every time. Thank you, Tiffany. Y'all be stop that. Stop me. Oh my god. But like that was one of the ways that I discovered, like, whoa, like this is the have to look like this. Like my granddad used to tell me all the time, you gotta pray every day. I'd be like, why? Well, if you love the Lord, you're gonna pray every day. But God knows that I love them. My friends know that I love them. My mom knows that I love them. My sister, my brother knows that I love them. Why do I don't talk to them every day. I don't talk to them every second of every day. I don't need to. Does my love dissipate through through Thursday to Saturday? Like, does my connection does it disappear when I don't talk? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't feel like talking. Some days I just want to sit in silence. I think I'm allowed to do that. And just because your relationship with this being is, oh, I gotta talk to them every day. Great. Doesn't mean that mine is gonna be that way. One way that I knew, once again, personal testimony, one way that I knew that God was real was one time this was years ago, oh my gosh, like, still shocks me to this day. I was kind of like just scrolling on TikTok. This is back when I lived with my mom. This had to be like 2 or 3 years ago now, probably 3 years at this point. I was sitting in my old house and, I was just scrolling on TikTok, and I don't know what was going on with me that week, but kind of like my spirit kind of felt, I could say, imbalanced. It wasn't really feeling strong. And I don't know, I think that was the same week that I had saw like the Astro World thing with Travis Scott. With that, I can get to a whole conversation about that. But that was something serious. And my spirit was just kind of feeling off. Like, I don't know, I got that whole week. I was just scrolling. And if you know anything about Christian, well, especially if you're Black, in the Christian church, people be speaking in tongues like that. And my whole childhood, I was like, no adults, like they tripping, like they just sitting over there, they pretending. They're not really talking in tongues. They're not really talking to God. They're not, you know what I'm saying? They're not really doing none of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, you know what I'm saying? They just tripping. They're just trying to make it seem like they all spiritually connected and whatnot. And my whole time, we all think it. My whole childhood, I always thought that. But this time though, I was like just scrolling and stuff, and out of nowhere, I came across this like song, like this song, Christian song or some type of gospel song, and it was like a Christian, like an African group singing it. I don't remember if it was in English or if it was in whatever language they were speaking, but I can't remember exactly. But for some reason, I got stuck on this video, and I was just like, oh my gosh, and it just kept playing and playing, And out of nowhere, I just became so stuck, y'all. I was like this. I was stuck. I was like, oh my gosh, for some reason I'm just stuck here. I can't leave. I can't leave. And out of nowhere, y'all, I literally started speaking in tongues. I had to be like, what? Like I said, let me tell you something. I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, oh my gosh, thank you, God, thank you, God. I'm just stuck. And then I'm just, I'm like, I had to be like, pause, backspace, rewind. And I had to be like, hold on, God, we're not ready for that. That's a little too quick. We're a little too fast. I want need you to slow. Pump the brakes. So you stop at the stoplight. I'm ready to get off. Like, like literally, I was like, y'all, that spooked me so bad. This is from somebody who didn't really believe in the whole, speaking in tongues thing. I'm thinking like, I ain't do y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't even, but I did it, and when I say I've never done that, that's when I was like, oh yeah. You know what? As somebody who didn't believe in that all this time, and I get stuck on this thing, my spirit is feeling lost, and out of nowhere, I'm speaking in a language I've never fucking done in my life. What the hell is this? I was like, oh yeah. After that, God hasn't messed with me since. God hasn't messed with me since. But I was like, GLD, I'm gonna need for you to calm down. Okay. So much going on. I'm gonna need you to calm down. My spirit is not ready for that. Okay, hit me back when I'm 40. Because right now, at 20, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And like another way that I know is that like I've talked to God before in the past, and I'll be like, okay, God, keep me from doing this thing, or keep me away from this person, or take this thing out of my life. It's not meant for me, or keep me away from things that I'm not supposed to be doing. Like, and they will. There's been times where I've God has like put things on my heart to do things for people, and I'd be like, what? What do you study or do? I just live. I really don't study anything. I just talk to God all day if I need to. This is just things that I've just learned over the years from my life. But like this is mainly from my experiences too. Like I've done things that I would have never done, like without God's guidance, basically. Like I was saying earlier, like there's been times where I had to do things for people, and I'd be looking at God like, "What you mean? What do you mean? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. No." Like I would literally be straight up like, I talk to God like that, like I talk to y'all. Like I don't talk to God like, dear God, please protect me from it. I don't do that. I was like, God, squeeze me. What are we talking about here? Like things that God would like slowly nudge me, slowly push me, be like, hey, do this thing that I asked. Hey, do this thing that I asked. And I'd be like, no. And then it'll be weighing on me and weighing on me and weighing on me. And I'd be like, oh, fine. And I'll go and I'll do it. And next thing you know, the pressure is gone. Next thing you know, the feeling that I was feeling of anger and upset and frustration, it just disappears. It's just gone. When myself, I don't want to do it. Gotta be like, hey, do this thing for me. And like that's when I was like, there's no other way. There's no way but God. Even myself now, like people really don't know a lot about my life because I really don't talk to people about, I guess you can say, like my personal stuff or things that have wounded me or things like that. Basically, unless you're close to me, like I really don't just really talk about that. And even people who are close to me, like there's been things that I've expressed to my best friends, and they'll be like, I would have never guessed you went through that. Like there's so much that I've gone through. And like to the point where my therapist, like when I was talking to her, she would just be looking at me like, how are you here right now? How are you here right now? How are you so happy? How are you so bubbly? How do people get, like, how are you like this? And I was like, it's nobody but God, because I either should have been locked up somewhere, put in a mental institution, or dead by now. All the things that I've been through. And it's just like, the only way that I can think about it is just like, God keeps bringing me out. God keeps waking me up. God keeps, giving me encouragement every day. Like, even when I'll use a time too, where like I've gone after job opportunities where I wasn't really sure, like oh, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it, or I don't know if it's right, and I'll say things, I'll speak out, and I'll be like, God, if I'm gonna get this, show me a sign, give me a little something, something. I don't need you to do nothing else. Just show me a little. I ain't gonna, and I'll look over and I'm like, oh. Like when I tell y'all, I have caught things in the moment of time. Like God has told me things beforehand, before they even happen, before they transpire, because they know me. They know that I'm gonna be asking questions all day and night. But God literally has, I can say, just blessed me with so much clarity throughout my life that there's no way that they're not real. But that's my personal testimony, right? Not my relationship with God is not gonna look like yours. Like what's going on with me is not gonna happen with you. Like your stuff is gonna be different. It might be similar, but God is gonna tailor their relationship to you based off of who you are as a person, not what I am. They're not gonna, basically, if you're talking to God, they're not gonna bless them. So what's the Sequoia thing? You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna do that. They're gonna, you know what I'm saying, address things according to you. And so for me, I truly cannot sit here and say with all of my heart um that like God is real, knowing what they've done for me, knowing what they've told me to do. Like God has literally put it on my heart. I remember there was times where I would have like money and I'd be like, oh, I got some extra money, I'm gonna spend it. And like I can't say it's anything but God would be like, don't spend that money, don't touch it, just let it sit there. And me being the person that I am, sometimes I spoil myself. Sometimes I like me a little treat, a little trinket. You know what I'm saying? So I be wearing this, you know what I'm saying? Do little fun stuff. But not only would God tell me don't spend that money, God would also remove my emotion from it. What does that mean? Like I don't feel attached to this. I don't even want it. A few weeks later, somebody needs that exact amount. I didn't need it. Somebody needed it more than me. I've been holding on to this money for 3 weeks. What is the odds that you need that exact amount? God has told me to trust people that I would have never thought to trust. Told me to give my number to a person who I barely knew. Give my number. And when I was in a bind, this person who barely knew me was willing to give me something with nothing in return. They didn't even want to thank you. God told me to give that person my number when I've never given any stranger my number. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. There's no way. Stuff that I would never do. God has literally, I will be in job interviews and they'll be like, oh, you know, what do you want your salary to be? And God will put it on my heart, ask for this amount. And I'd be like, they'd be like, go on. Well, I'm just like, God, I was gonna ask for a little, you know what I'm saying? I was gonna ask for a little less than that. Maybe not, maybe ask for this amount. And I'd be like, shit. Well, God said I can have it. So it's mine. Oh my gosh, Cynthia, you are so sweet. You're divinely protected. Yes, everybody is unique. Who that money thing is wild. It's crazy. Like I'm not tell you. It's happened to me multiple times. When I say multiple times, it's happened to me multiple times. Like where God has said, "Don't touch that. Don't spend that. Just leave it there." And I'd be like, "But I want to, God." Like I'm like, hold on, man. I'm like, I want that, and they'd be like, "No." And you know, some people probably look at me and be like, "Son, you crazy as hell. You gave away this, and this. Why? That's wild." But I tell you, God just, people be asking like, how did you get this? How do you do that? Because God blesses me. When I'm obedient, God blesses me. I have yet to be disappointed. I haven't been disappointed yet. And God is still doing. Thanks, Emily. I appreciate it. Well, there are some people who be like, I would have never done that. I know. God didn't ask for you to. Clown, just ask your question. Everybody else is in here. We don't watch Stranger Things. Well, I don't watch Stranger Things. I don't know if everybody else does, but I don't. But like, it's just so many things that have happened to me. So many things that have been phenomena that I can't explain. Things that they just feel so right, and that's how I'm able to go through my life the way that I am. That's why I do what I do. God makes me take risks that I would have never done. Like me being somebody who grew up with a lot of insecurity in my life, and I don't mean like insecurity in the sense where it's like I grew up believing that I wasn't beautiful. I nipped that shit in the bud in the 7th grade. I mean like growing up without stability in my life of, you know, having to be able to have field trip money, or knowing if we're going to keep our house, or if our light's going to be on, or if our Wi-Fi is going to stay on, or, you know, if we're going to have a car, you know, things like that. growing up with that, I've always been like, I gotta choose comfort, safety over everything, because that's what all I knew was survival. God has made me take risks where I be like, huh? God has made me do this where I'm just like, what do you mean? What do you mean? There's no way. You're what? You have lost your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like that is, you know what I'm saying? Like, but God will give me the courage to do it. God has told me to keep certain people in my life where I'm like, God, I don't know. This person was, you know what I'm saying? Something ain't right about them. But God will be like, just hold on. Keep them around. Hold on. And then I'll realize, oh, okay, this was for them, not necessarily for me. Or maybe they were here for this small portion of my life, but now I no longer need them. I don't know. This person is being weird, y'all. Just ignore this weird person. I don't know. I think they meant to say no questions, but whatever. Um, yeah. Just ignore them. Just block them. They're being weird. But just all those things, like to me, the things that I've experienced, I just could not say out of my mouth, God does not exist. God is not real. Like it just doesn't feel right. I can't. Yeah, if they're being weird, y'all, either block them or ignore them. Don't give them any energy. They're just gonna be weird, you know. Don't go back and forth. If they're being weird, just ignore them because they're not gonna take over this live. This live is full of people who want to be educated, those who want to be informed, those who want to be inspired, those who want to grow. That's what this is for, right? That's what we talk about this for. All right, and I'm gonna dive into like our neurodivergent stuff. Don't let me forget. I want to dive into our neurodivergent stuff, like stuff specifically for us on the next live because I want us to kind of figure that out. Because I've talked about it a little bit in the past, but I want to keep bringing it up so we can continue to grow and become the better versions of ourselves. We all deserve it, right? But yeah, I always tell people if you're lost, if you're confused, if you don't know, find your own way. Get into your own relationship. Find your own discovery. Don't sit back waiting for somebody to tell you what your relationship should look like. Don't listen to other people about what your relationship should sound like, what you should be doing. No, do what feels right to you in that moment. And the best way that I started with my relationship with God was I would just say, God, remind me to pray every day. It's not going to be long. My little prayers would be 5 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 minutes, 2 hours. It just depends. And that's how I started my relationship with God. And God reminded me every single day. And that's how I got started. Asking certain questions, getting closer to God, being obedient. And another thing about, getting a relationship with God is that God is going to not put you through things, but God is going to allow things to happen and God is going to pull you through some things. And so, like, you're going to have to be okay with that. You're going to have to, yeah, I'm excited for it too. I'm ready to dive into it a little bit more because it's a little bit of things for us to kind of like help y'all through and get things rolling, right? But like, you can't sit back and wait for somebody to tell you how that's going to look or what that's going to be like, because people are going to push their beliefs or their thought process or what they want onto you, and you can't let them do that. That's what my parents did for a very long time. Let me see. That's what my parents did for a very long time. The people in my family did for a very long time. And it pushed me away from having a relationship with God. It pushed me away from having a spiritual connection because I was like, well, my stuff has to look like this. Well, I don't want it to look like that. I don't feel like that. This doesn't feel right. I don't like it. And it's just like, well, if this is how it's going to be, then I don't want it. And then I had to realize it doesn't have to be like that. There's beauty. There is strength. There is growth in any type of relationship that you start to get. And your relationship not gonna look like mine, and my relationship not gonna look like yours, and that's okay. However you get there is how you get there, but at least have your spirit bounded to something. Have your spirit secured in something. And that is one of the ways that I grew into the confident, wise woman that I am now. God will keep you from a lot of shit. I'm telling you, God will keep you out of a lot of mess. God will keep you away from a lot of bad people, out of a lot of bad situations. But the funny thing is about being obedient is that you got to go against what you want sometimes, what you think you want sometimes, for what God knows is right. And that's something that a lot of people have a hard time with. Because God going to straight up tell you, stop drinking. Stop hanging out with that person. Sometimes people don't start relationships with God because God is going to reveal those holes in your life that you're trying to fill with sand. God is going to acknowledge you're not feeling good because you're doing this. God is going to force you to confront the things in your life that is forcing you to hold on to bad habits, stay in bad relationships, take on bad, things. God is going to force you to acknowledge that stuff. And some people are not ready for that transition. Some people are not ready for that relationship. And that's okay. I am, though. Because one thing about it, two things for sure. I might cry, but I'm going to get through it. It's going to get done. No matter how I got to do it. If I got to cry from Monday to Sunday, if I got to curse from Tuesday to Thursday, it doesn't matter. It's going to get done. Because I have my goals in mind, and I want God to be proud of me. And more importantly, God wants me to be proud of myself. And that comes through works. That comes through blood, sweat, and tears. That comes through letting some stuff go. That comes through patience. That comes through all of that stuff. And so you got to be ready to take on that journey. You got to be ready to, you know what I'm saying? And if you got to keep it between you and God, just do that. There's plenty of stuff that people don't know that I've been through because I don't talk to people about it. I just talk to God about it, and we move on and we keep going. And people look at me and be like, oh my God, you're so strong. You're doing so well. And it's just like, yeah, but 2 days ago, I wasn't. I was begging God to take me up out of here. I'm dramatic, y'all. I'm fine, I promise. But like, that's really what it is. And so, I know a lot of people are not ready for that, and I know some people are still confused on that, but just start it in your own way. Sometimes that's through reading stuff. That's sometimes through connections. That's sometimes through music. That's sometimes through just whatever you need. So start small. Start with your step stones, with your little goals, stuff like that. And so y'all homework for this live is to set some goals. Some goals, even if they're small. Turn those dreams into goals. Oh, silly Billy, don't get me started. Woo! I was telling God, I'm tired, God. I don't want to do it anymore. Take me out. Put somebody here in my stead. I'm over it. Put somebody here in my stead. But that's y'all homework for this live is to just set some goals for yourself, even if it's small. I want to get 2 chores done this week. I want to get myself back into the groove of knowing what it's like to have fun. I want to figure out what my passion is. I want to know how I want to become a better friend, how I want to become a better mother, and then do that. That is y'all homework for this live, to set a goal. And if y'all don't know what steps to take, or y'all don't know what questions to ask, or whatever, ask them in the next live. Which will be next Wednesday. If not next Wednesday, you already know on Friday. And I think we said, what did we say? We said Friday at, what did I say, 7 o'clock? 7:30? 7:30? 7 o'clock? I think it's Friday. It's at 7 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. But I love y'all very, 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 very much. I appreciate y'all joining me on the live. I don't want to keep y'all too long because it is 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. I'm excited. I just got myself a whiteboard calendar and some little cards. I want to build a vision board. Yes, silly lady. That's it. Follow these silly lady's footsteps, y'all. Set y'all goals. Even if it's small, I want to see what y'all is. Nothing is too small. Nothing is too tiny. I want to see everybody's stuff. And yeah, we'll talk about it. If you don't know where to start, we'll talk about it in the next live when we're going over the neurodivergent stuff. But I love y'all very, 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 very much. And I will see y'all in the next one. I'll see y'all next Wednesday. And if I don't see y'all next Wednesday, you know I'll make a post saying that it'll be Friday. So yeah, love you. Oh, thank goodness, somebody already got it. Okay. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate it so much. You're so sweet. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.